In part 1, you saw how MrBeast took on the challenge to spend 24 hours in the world's most haunted prison. This prison was no ordinary place. Since the 1930s, over 1,000 people lost their lives here. 300 of them burned alive in a tragic fire. They say their restless souls still wander through the cold, dark corridors of this haunted place. When MrBeast and his friends arrived, one of them saw a dark shadow, and MrBeast began hearing strange, unearthly noises. Now the story continues. Back at the base camp in the prison hall, MrBeast and his friends gathered to share their experiences. The signs were clear. Something paranormal was lurking in this cursed place. With his courage renewed, MrBeast decided to explore further. This time, they would play hide-and-seek in the haunted prison. MrBeast announced a challenge. If anyone could find him, they would win $10,000. Everyone agreed. He hid in one of the cells, but his friends found him quickly. Frustrated, he decided to hide in the prison's solitary confinement, the scariest place of all. As he stepped inside, the air grew colder, heavier. The room was empty except for a rusty, iron bed and a filthy, broken toilet. A deep, unnerving silence filled the space. Just as he stopped recording, an overwhelming sadness washed over him. Then it hit him, a foul stench like rotting flesh. And then he heard it. From the door, a faint but chilling voice. "Please, save me, Jimmy." He froze, thinking his friends had found him. He crouched in the corner, ready to scare them back. But then, the voice came again, this time, much closer. "Please, help me, Jimmy." The voice was right next to his ear. Fear gripped him as he realized he wasn't alone in that cell. Just as he was about to leave, Chandler and Chris found him and pulled him out. Despite the terror, MrBeast gathered his courage. He decided to play hide-and-seek again, exploring other parts of the prison. Everyone laughed on camera, but deep down, they were terrified. Finally, it was time for the most chilling challenge of all, visiting James Lockhart's solitary cell. James Lockhart was 22 years old when he was locked in cell number 13 of the Ohio prison. Convicted of murder, he was sentenced to 15 years, but many believed he was innocent. He couldn't bear the torment of prison life. One day, he took paint thinner from the furniture store, poured it over himself, and set himself on fire inside his cell. They say his soul still haunts that cell. Hearing James's story, MrBeast and his friends decided to visit. As they approached the cell, a flock of birds suddenly appeared, flying around the prison and squawking loudly. Ignoring the commotion, they placed an EMF meter and a sound recorder on a metal slab inside the cell. They began asking questions. Suddenly, the EMF meter blinked violently. Nervous, they decided to end the communication and leave. Connor suggested the signals might not be paranormal, as metal could sometimes interfere with the meter, but just then, the EMF meter buzzed again. Connor suddenly felt cold, his breath becoming labored. They sat him down and asked James if he was near Connor. The EMF meter began blinking more violently than ever before. Connor's eyes started burning and his body trembled with chills. They quickly cut the camera, but Connor couldn't stop shaking. He saw it again, the dark shadow. But this time, it had a face, a burnt figure with blackened eyes and an exposed skull. It moved slowly toward Connor, who writhed in pain. Terrified, MrBeast decided they would spend the rest of the night in the main hall and wait for morning. They set up their sleeping bags close together and tried to sleep. Connor was still shaken. MrBeast struggled to understand what had happened in solitary confinement and the hospital hall. Both of them took painkillers and tried to forget everything. Just as Tariq was about to sleep, the walkie-talkie suddenly came to life. A strange, distorted voice came through. "I am James. Please, get me out of here. Help." The walkie-talkie turned off by itself. Tariq couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, they finished their video and left the prison. MrBeast included some evidence in his video, but some things remained unexplained. Was it all real, or just their minds playing tricks on them? What do you think? Is the Ohio prison truly haunted? Would you take on such a challenge? Let us know in the comments.